Thank you, Jamesons. We appreciate that prelude. On this second Sunday in Advent, I'm going to ask Randy, Jessica, and Alita Slate to come and light our candle.
I light this candle for faith.
Light the Advent candle too. Think of humble shepherds who, filled with wonder at the sight of the child on Christmas night. I light this candle for peace.
The second Advent candle is the peace candle. It reminds us that as we prepare for Christmas, we need to take time out of every day to find that peaceful place with ourselves. When we do this, we will remember that Christmas is really about celebrating the love in the world. We remember that we can choose to enter into every situation from a point of peace rather than conflict.
Please join us. Candle, candle, burning bright, shining in the winter night. Candle, candle, burning bright, fill our hearts with Christmas light.
Good morning and welcome to Spokane, those of you here and all of you that are online watching today on our worldwide online community. This is Spokane Spiritual Center. This is Unity Spiritual Center of Spokane. Thank you again to the Slates. Thank you, Lauren and Scott. I'm Jeff Hunter, and I'll be your platform assistant this morning. And if everyone could please just take a moment to silence your cell phones, it would be greatly appreciated. Thank you. As always, we want to begin our time together today by sharing our opening affirmation. Together we affirm, there is only one presence and one power active in my life and in the universe, God the Good. This is Unity's foundation principle. One presence, one power, one life, living through and as each one of us. I'll wake up in a moment. This morning, our spiritual leader, Reverend Bonnie Barnard, will talk about developing and maturing a Christ consciousness. Our music today is provided by Judy and Lauren, accompanied by father and husband, Scott, and that will be followed by Darlene with a reading and an opening prayer. But first of all, let's all stand, sing our good morning song, led by the wonderful Monica Lowney and Michael Herzog.
We're going to sing this faster this time, so we want you guys to keep up. So keep your eye on the lyrics.
Go tell it on the mountain, over the hills and everywhere. Go tell it on the mountain that Jesus Christ is born. While shepherds kept their watching over silent flocks by night, behold, throughout the heavens there shone a holy light. Oh, go tell it on the mountain, over the hills and everywhere. Go tell it on the mountain that Jesus Christ is born. The shepherds feared and trembled when low above the earth rang out the angel chorus that hailed our teacher's birth. Go tell it on the mountain, over the hills and everywhere. Go tell it on the mountain that Jesus Christ is born. Down in a lowly manger, oh, Christ was born, and God's love was revealed, that blessed Christmas morn. Go tell it on the mountain, over the hills and everywhere. Go tell it on the mountain, that Jesus Christ is born, that Jesus Christ is born.
Today's reading is taken from Making the Contact by Robert A. Russell. If you hold popcorn over an intense flame, it becomes so filled with heat that it suddenly bursts into a new pattern. So it is with your word. Once you unite yourself with God power, healing takes place. It is as natural as the bursting of the popcorn into its new pattern. The word spoken out of a God-filled consciousness, the word into which the Christ has entered, has such tremendous power to heal and to bless that it destroys all former limitations. Emerson said, "The utterance of true ideas by one with a mission causes kings to totter on their thrones." The change must come within us. Our prayers, thoughts, and words are only for the purpose of establishing ourselves in our own minds as outlets for God's good. As an arm of the sea, a gulf, a bay, an inlet, no matter how small, partakes of the nature of the ocean itself, so we are the awareness of our oneness with God and share it with powers and attributes. So now, relax into your chair, rest your eyelids, and focus your attention upon your heart. Let us pray. As I connect with the divine presence of God's good, I activate within me the inner Christ. As I sit in the inner Christ, I allow the illumination to fill my body temple, plumping up the cells with the light of love, just as the flame with the popcorn. I am alive in Christ. I am alive in God's good. I have access to the I am presence within me. I am the I am. I am peace, joy, love, faith, abundance. All is well within me and within my world. I breathe in this truth now. That which I seek, that which I desire, I am. As I sit in this, I smile, knowing that truth feeds and enlivens me. God is capital G good. I am good. This Christmas season is the first Christmas season I have experienced in my present form. I look forward to the unfolding in grace and joy. I too experience this service overflowing in grace and joy, and I am grateful for it all. And so it is. Amen.
Thank you, Jamesons. That was fantastic. Welcome to Unity Spiritual Center Spokane. Whether this is your first time or your fifth generation, 125th year, we welcome you here. And for those of you online, thank you for choosing to spend some time with us today. If you are a seeker here or a knower here or a revealer of truth here, you are welcome. And it is my hope that you have chosen to experience this holiday season from the place of merriment. Each one of us, as the divine presence in form, has immense power, including the power to choose to have a new experience each holiday season. So it's my hope and my prayer for each one of us that we allow ourselves to have immense joy and merriment. So this Tuesday, this last Tuesday when we did our meditation in the chapel, I saw this wooden nativity scene painted Christ right in the middle of my heart. And what happens when we get together to meditate, which is so incredible, is that we are entering into the portals within our body systems, to the centers that each one of us have, and we're turning the lights on. We're letting, through our intention and attention, we're letting our body system know that we are awake and aware and we are available for service. And so these rich, rich, rich meditations allow us to feel the Christ presence within us and around us, and to be in a field of many who are joining us there, so it's amplified. And so what we did, we do something a little different each Tuesday, but this last Tuesday, what we did is, as we held our own field in that just luscious, lovely, rich place of open for service, we then placed images into our field without the intention of doing anything in and of ourselves. We're just inviting an image to come into what we have activated in our field. And so we brought in ourself, and we brought in individuals we knew that had requested support for wholeness in their body temples. And we did not then do anything other than allow the image to sit in our field as we tended to that fire flame within ourselves, to that place where the popcorn pops. I just love that reading. And so as we did that, we also called forth the Spokane River. And it was just so lovely, because we don't have to know what spirit within us is doing with that image, with that prototype, with that mental facsimile of that which is down the street from us. What we just know is something is happening through us, and we are being the place where we're allowing that to be so. So there are a lot of Buddhists. There's research with Buddhists who have blessed different bodies of water, and they have tested them before and after and had change and transformation. So I myself am not so concerned about that after effect in my spiritual practice. What I am concerned with for myself is that I am opening greater capacity within my being to show up as the light of Christ in the world. And so to me, this isn't, if I win Mrs. America, like doing a workout. To me, it is my body getting stronger? And in my case, it has to do with consciousness. Is my consciousness expanding? Am I becoming a greater place for God to do its light through me. So what was curious on Tuesday is in the midst of this just yumminess, here I see in my field that right in the center of my heart is the nativity scene Christ from childhood. And it looks like that. And so, again, I welcome all of it. I'm not pushing it away. I don't have an agenda other than, like I said, just to create greater capacity within for God to serve through me. So I am there with the Christ within me sitting there, and I'm just tending to it and feeling its energy. And what I became really aware of is the newness or the newbornness of this experience Christmas season called Christ. And so I went online and looked at truthunity.net. And for those of you here who aren't familiar with truthunity.net, you can go there and you could type in anything scripturally or any spiritual idea, and the writings from Unity folks will pop up in the form of lessons and interpretations. So I typed in, when does the birth of Christ take place in the individual soul? And this is the response from unity.net. It is the birth of Christ takes place in the individual soul when the soul awakens to a realization of truth that life is spiritual, not material. And the Christ is that divine idea woman. Of course it said man, but I changed it today. The Christ is the divine idea man or the divine idea woman. So what this says to me is that when my soul awakens to the realization of spirit and I am operating from that spirit, then God or spirit has the final word in my physical life. I don't look to my bank account for money. I look to spirit to be sourced. I don't look to outside evidence as to whether I am healthy or not. Now, I get all of that. I go to the bank, I go to the doctors, I do all of that, but where my allegiance lies is in the God of my being. So I gather outside data, but where the flame is, where the manger is, where the sourcing takes place is an inner sourcing. So God is my health, God is my source, God is my well-being, and I prepare my body temple daily for its vibration. And so the opportunity for us this holiday season is to remember that for anything that looks disturbing in our lives or for anything that we love and celebrate, we can lean into our inner consciousness of Christ for guidance, for restoration, for upliftment, for vibrational shift, that when we become aware that we are spiritual, our home base is different than when we are physical. So that I contemplated on the energy of the newborn, and what I didn't put on the slide is the obvious. And the obvious is when you're looking at a newborn, when you're feeling the energy of the newborn within, the primary energy is new. And so I have challenged myself. I have been at the center now for over a year, and I have challenged myself when I enter into a meeting with the same people that I have entered into for a year, that I say to myself as I'm sitting in that meeting, I am different than I was a year ago. Every single human being in this meeting is different than they were a year ago. I, God, am available to seeing what wants to emerge between us, because although we all are faking each other and pretending that we are the same body mass, the reality is there's very little about us that was the same a year ago. And so the opportunity for me has been to say, where is the new in this? Where is the new in this? Because our relationships, if we are unconscious, operate through patterns. And I want to experience the newborn of Christ through me. And that means the opportunity to say to myself, do not look at this person not from the pattern that they showed up as last time, but look at this the energy of Christ underneath the pattern and see what new may be able to emerge from this. So newness is big. And then I wanted to read from this book, How I Use Truth by Emily Cady. How many of you are familiar with Emily Cady? Oh my God, this is so much fun. Okay. Emily Cady was a contemporary of our founders, the Fillmores. And Myrtle Fillmore was a writer. She wrote. Charles Fillmore was not a writer, although we have tons of books from him. All of us can appreciate this. Back in the day, it was the sweet ladies of the church who took shorthand and turned his talks into books. So he himself was not a writer. One of the most connected students was Emily Cady, and she was a homeopathic doctor, and she was a writer. She developed curriculum. She was an amazing woman with a beautiful consciousness. And so most of the initial classes that came out of Unity came from her work. And so this book, How I Use Truth, begins with a letter that she writes to Charles Fillmore, and she's telling him that I'd really like this to be turned into a book because I'm applying the science. I am applying what we know to be capital T truth teaching, and I'm having results and I want to share it with people. So she's writing to him and saying this, and she says in her letter, one of these cases that she was working on in consciousness was that of my old father, who, though perfectly innocent, had been kept in exile, meaning prison, for 5 years, put there by the wicked machinations of another man. Don't you just love the languaging? My father was in exile from the machinations of another man. No process of law that I had invoked, no human help, not even prayers that I had offered, seemed to avail for his deliverance. One day, while sitting alone in my room, my hands busy with other things, my heart cried out, "O God, stretch forth thy hand and deliver." Instantly, the answer came, I have no hands but human hands. Your hand is my hand. Stretch it forth spiritually and give whatsoever you will to whomever you will, and I will establish it. Unquestioningly, I obeyed. From that moment, without any further external help or striving, the way of his release was opened ahead of us more rapidly than we could step into. Within a few days, my dear father came home a free man, justified, exonerated, both publicly and privately, beyond anything we could have asked or thought. So imagine this, and I think of, again, that just lovely Christ or the popcorn or the fire, whatever image that exists right within our heart space, within our body temples, and we say to God, stretch out thy hand and do this. And God's response is, you've got the hands, stretch them spiritually, and you do the work. So what I say today is let's just close our eyes for a moment, and if we are experiencing loneliness this time of year, imagine the spiritual hands of yours stretching out and wrapping themselves around your being and quelling that loneliness. If this time of year you're feeling stuck in a rut of sadness, imagine reaching your spiritual arms out and asking to be delivered from this in whatever way the universe sees is the highest and best way for deliverance. If you're in need of financial support, imagine your spiritual arms being stretched out and imagine that they are delivering to you the support that you need right now. So just take a moment and imagine an area of your life that you would like deliverance from, and let those spiritual arms of yours reach out and allow yourself to be delivered from whatever it is that's in the way of you experience and expressing the fullness of who you are. And repeat after me. I stretched forth my hands and they delivered. Beautiful. And then in this book of hers on how she used truth, the very first chapter is finding the Christ in ourselves. And I'm going to read a little piece of it, and we're going to insert a couple affirmations based upon what she says because it's so fruitful. It says, throughout all his teachings, Jesus tried to show those who listened to him how he was related to the Father, and to teach them that they were related to the same Father in exactly the same way. Over and over again, he tried in different ways to explain to them that God lived within them, that God was not the God of the dead, but the God of the living. And never once did he assume to do anything of himself, always saying, I of myself can do nothing. The Father abiding in me does the work. But it was very hard then for people to understand, just as it can be hard for us to understand today. There were in the person of Jesus two distinct regions. There was the fleshly, mortal part, who we called Jesus, the Son of Man, and then there was the central living part of the Spirit, the Son of God, that was the Christ or the Anointed. So each one of us has two regions of being, one that is fleshly, a mortal part, which also feels weakness and insufficiency in all things and says, I can't. Then at the center of our being, there is something that in our highest moments knows itself more than conqueror over all things. And it always says, I can and I will. Repeat after me, I can and I will. It is the Christ child, the Son of God, the anointed in us. Call no man your father on earth, said Jesus, for one is your Father, even he who is in heaven. And what we know in metaphysics is this is not a literal saying. What we know in metaphysics is we are saying to ourselves, we are not placing our attention on what is in physical form today, because what we see in physical form today is the congealed thoughts of our past. What we are placing our attention on is the Christ presence within that is active and alive today, that is the God of the living, that you and I are the temples of the God of the living. And so when we feel restricted, it's because our attention is on the human or the fleshly part of ourselves, and it's not on that Christ within. And so the regular spiritual practice that we've committed to as our mission in this center is to continue to go within ourselves and to allow through attention and intention the expansion of the awareness of Christ that is alive within us. He who created us did not make us and set us apart from himself as a workman makes a table or a chair and puts it away as something completed, only to return to the maker when it needs a repair. Not at all. God not only created us in the beginning, but is the very foundation of life ever abiding within us. And one of the names I love for God so much is eternity. The idea that the eternal is active and alive within us as we express in mortal form the eternal. God not only created us in the beginning, but he's the very fountain of life ever abiding within us. From this fountain constantly springs new life to recreate our mortal bodies. He is the ever abiding intelligence that fills and renews our mind. His creators, his creatures would not exist a moment were he to be or could he be separate from them. We would not be alive for even a moment if we didn't have the breath of God operating in our bodies. We are the temple of the living God, even as God said, I will dwell in them and I will walk in them. So our affirmation is, God is forever abiding in me. God is forever abiding in me. And I am the living temple of God. God dwells in me and walks in me. And then we have another quote from Emily Cady a little bit later in this chapter. And she says, above all else, learn to keep the Christ within you, not that within someone else. Let the Father manifest you through you in his own way. What this says to me, and I'm rephrasing it for myself now, is above all, tend to source energy, the presence of God or good within me, my highest and holy. I mind myself, not the God in others. I allow Source to do its work uniquely through me. If the presence of God activates within me the desire to write a book, I don't sit down and copy somebody else's book and put my name on it. That's plagiarism. We don't live plagiarized lives. We live the unique expression of God through us. So God says, write, and it is the voice of God through my own personality that comes forward in that which I write. God says, write a song. Well, you're not going to sit down and write White Christmas. That's already been written. And if you wrote White Christmas, you'd get in trouble because you didn't write it. So you say to that presence within, what would you have me write? And it works with you through your willingness to write what is yours to write. So this quote says to me, to one, mind my own business, not somebody else's. And then it also says to me that I tend to that Christ consciousness within me so that it can deliver its good through me. Again, as Emerson has said, and I love to quote all the time, I am the inlet and the outlet of God. So lastly, I wanted to look at the life cycle of a fruit tree to be able to take a moment just to talk about maturation. And this I haven't compared with any other spiritual leaders' stuff, so I don't know how consistent it is, but it works for the talk today and the energy and the flavor of what I'm talking about. So it was fun to look at the life cycle of a tree. It begins with taking a seed and having that seed germinate beneath the ground in the dark. Then it sprouts and the tree grows through light. It grows through photosynthesis. And as it continues to grow, it creates a flower from it. That I'm talking mostly about apples here, but it's all fruit trees. And I had a pomegranate tree in my home in Arizona, and it made the most beautiful flowers. And then all of a sudden, the flowers were no longer, and there was a red bulb. And I could see that the bulb was created out of the flower, and there was evidence of the flower that started the bulb, but it was shifting. It was such a beautiful sight to see. But within that flower, there's male and female both, and then it's pollinated through insects, and in the case of an apple tree, that is bees. And the flower then develops into a fruit, and then as there's a fruit, within that fruit are additional seeds, which then can be dispersed for more life. So when we look at this spiritually or in consciousness, the way that I laid it out is that in our germination, the seed exists in a whole state. So when we see a seed, we know that within it exists the potentiality for that seed to become a tree. And so it takes a process of shifting form, like it takes a process for us to shift consciousness in order to have that new emerge. So it starts with the germination, and so within the seed is wholeness. This means nowhere along the journey are you and I ever not enough or broken. We begin in wholeness and we emerge from wholeness. And so we sprout through light and spiritual practice. The reproductive part is that there's a time in our spiritual journey when our own masculine and feminine energies get birthed within. And yes, men, you have feminine energy and it's beautiful. And women, we have masculine energy and it's beautiful. So we balance those out, and it is through the birth of those that we have pollination with truth and application of the truth, and then oneness awareness begins. The flower is miracles, manifestations, synchronicity, and awareness. And this is where the seed disperses into a two or more consciousness, and community consciousness can happen. So when I am doing my own abundance work, and abundance can be about prosperity or financial well-being, but abundance is about enoughness. At the root of the abundance practice is the practice that we are whole and we are enough. And one of my meditation practices that I absolutely love to do when I'm doing the practice of abundance is I love to realize that that one little seed, that one starter seed can turn into an entire orchard. And this is what it looks like from an apple. If you plant one apple seed and it creates an apple tree, there are 200 to 300 apples on that tree. Each apple itself contains 5 to 8 seeds. So that one little apple in the form of abundance will yield or generate 1,000 to 2,400 seeds. And then if we had 1 acre of an apple orchard, there's 180 trees on them. And so that 1 acre would yield 432,000 seeds. Out of one seed, out of me, out of Christ consciousness, out of the one, it can impact that one seed in 1 acre of an orchard, 432,000 seeds. And in Washington State, the average orchard is 100 acres. So one seed then would create 43,200,000 seeds in a Washington State orchard. So when we are talking about abundance, we're talking about not allowing our mind to limit who we can become in Christ. So the conversation isn't around excess. The conversation is around, am I allowing that one seed to become 43,200,000 seeds if that's the work that God wants to do through me? And so this time of year, as we activate our inner Christ consciousness, we are doing far more than simply turning within, but we are beginning the practice of activating within us a power that is not from this world. It is not of this world, and it has the capacity to do everything and anything to those who believe. And before we enter into meditation, I did want Ray to stand up because I want to clap for him. Ray, where are you? Ray. There he is, back here. Okay, up. Stand up, Ray. Come on now. Come on. Thank you, Ray. Ray had, past tense, had a form of brain cancer. I think it was some kind of cancer, something icky. Head, brain, it's up here. And it's totally gone. And he said to me last Sunday when he came in, I know it is because of the center. And I looked in his eyes and said, I know it too. We get to have a higher conversation here because of who we are. Ray is whole, he is healed, he is well. There is no cancer any longer in the head part of his being. And he went on to say, the best thing my wife ever did was drag me to the center. And I loved that visual because I imagined you, Ray, having a ponytail and having Sandy like yanking you here to the center so that you would come and be in the presence. But we are so blessed to have both of you here and to have who you are and who you've become on the process. So thank you. And thank you for letting us honor you. It's lovely, lovely. With God, all things are possible, and this is the center of possibility. So let's go ahead and let's go within. I just keep landing on that word possible. With God, everything is possible to those who believe. And I focus on that beautiful nativity Christ that showed up in my heart during our meditation. And so I invite each one of us to just place our attention upon our heart. And just imagine that the newborn energy exists. The eternal exists, always birthing itself through and as your being in your heart region. And I'd like you to bring into your heart something that you so deeply desire and to say to yourself, it is possible. With God, all things are possible. And if there's more desires of your heart, allow them to come forward and just say, it is possible. And so through this holiday season, as we enter into our daily meditations, let's go into our hearts and remind ourselves of the possibility of all of the good that can come forth through us as we get our mind out of the way. The limited thoughts move aside. God's in town. Christ consciousness is here. There's nothing that is too big for that power within each one of us. And so I give thanks for Ray and his willingness to be that place where God showed up, that we may clap for him and recognize within us that that exists also. Whether it is a job that we desire, God has an in with all the employers. Excuse me. If it's a relationship we desire, God has the ultimate transportation ability to bring people together. If it's the internal feeling of abundance, the awareness of all that we are and all that we have, and our own worth, then that too is provided through God. And so I celebrate and give thanks for this inexhaustible source of good. And I give thanks that my voice worked through my talk. And for all of this good and glory of God, I give thanks. And so it is. Amen.
I have traveled many moonless nights, cold and weary, with a babe inside, and I wonder what I've done. Holy Father, you have come and chosen me now to carry your Son. I am waiting in a silent prayer. I am frightened by the load I bear in a world as cold as stone. Must I walk this path alone? Be with me now. Be with me now. For the mercy of your plan, help me be strong, help me be, help me. Breath of heaven, hold me together, be forever near me. Breath of heaven, breath of heaven, lighten my darkness, pour over me your holiness, for you are holy. Breath of heaven, hold me together, be forever near me. Breath of heaven, breath of heaven, lighten my darkness, pour over me your holiness, for you are holy. Breath of heaven, breath of heaven, breath of heaven.
Beautiful. And of course, at Unity, heaven is not a place outside of ourselves. It is actually a consciousness of God's good. So the breath of heaven to us is the breath of God's good. And it's just, that song was beautiful. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. All right. Those who are going to be praying up here with me, I just went and washed my hands. So feel free to come up and join me. And this is our holy, holy time of giving. And this is when we circulate all of that good that we have in the form of finances. And we all do it for different reasons, but from the one place, which is that nativity scene within, that is the manger, that is the popcorn, that is the fire. And so now if you'd like to get out your gifts, your tithes, your offering, and if you already do it through your bank, we'll ask you to put your hands over your heart, just giving thanks. And really, Charles Fillmore says that one of our 12 powers from God is the use of imagination. And so just imagine that giving coming out of your bank account and all of the hands or the minds or the computers that it touches and making its way here to Unity and then making it circulated out of Unity. So all the different ways that it blesses not only us, but our community. And together, let's say our affirmation. I know that my giving blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, and all that I give and receive. I give thanks for the abundance that is mine to share. All right. So let's all extend our hands. And today, from Emily Cadine's writing, we know that our hand is the energetic spiritual hand of God. And as we expand it and bless this money that has been gifted today, we do so from that place within us that knows the unlimited nature of God's good and knows that we have the power and the ability to multiply that which is in front of us. And so we give thanks for the money that has been gifted today in all of its various forms. We give thanks for those online who are giving, and we give thanks to those here in the sanctuary that are. And as we extend this hand of God through us, we know that this money is multiplied here at the center, that it grows and it expands and it attracts its friends and its neighbors and all of the good that it can, and it does so for the giver as well. For God leaves no one and no thing out. And so I give thanks for the abundance that is ours, for the prosperity that is demonstrated, and for the good that will come from this giving. And so it is. Amen.
What a wonderful service. Thank you, everyone who's been involved so far. It's time to read our unity statement. Together, unity stands for peace in the presence of conflict, for love in the presence of hatred, for unity. Unity honors the many names for God, the many paths to God, for we know that there is only one power, one presence, and one life. So whoever you are, wherever you are on your spiritual journey of transformation, you are welcome here, all of you. Those in the sanctuary, those of you online, everyone is welcome. Is there anyone here for the first time today, a newcomer? Congratulations. Oh, wow, we have a lot today. All right, welcome. We have a gift for you. We have a little gift bag that has a coupon for our barista stand and some other goodies for you also. And we're so happy to have you here today. And we're hoping to see you next week and running for the board soon, you know. That's a joke, a little side joke. Don't let me scare you off. For those of you who are here, as well as those that are joining us who might be new to our ministry, we encourage you to sign up for our e-newsletter to learn more about our upcoming workshops, our classes, all the activities that we have here. And you can scan the QR code that's on the screen or anywhere around the center, and you can also find it online at unityspokane.org. We're really glad you're all here today, the new ones and those that are not so new. Our chaplains today are Gary and David Lineweber, who have been holding the service in prayer for us today. Gary will be available to pray with you immediately following the service. So if you have anything that might be heavy on your heart or a joy that you want to share, these gentlemen are the people to see. They are the real deal. And we appreciate your service so much. We would like to encourage anyone who is in need of prayer support to fill out the prayer request form that's in the seat pocket in front of you and put that in one of our prayer boxes. There's one right back at the back of the sanctuary and one in the atrium. And those prayer requests will be prayed on for 30 days here with our chaplains, and also will be sent to Silent Unity where they will be prayed on for 30 days also. And now it's time for Tricia and the news we can all use.
Thank you. Good morning. Oh, that was lovely. So we have our sound bath coming up this next Saturday. We are so excited. It is going to be amazing and relaxing. Please sign up. I will be there. I'm excited to enjoy this wonderful moment. There's some good benefits that come with it, so sign up and join me. Also, next weekend, we're going to have a presentation from the kids. There'll be a little short break after service, and then join us back in here for about 15 minutes for something special that they've been working on. And then, of course, for Christmas, we are doing that evening service, so there will not be one in the morning. Please join us at 4:30 on the 24th. Until next week, bye, guys. And guys, we have this great video. Please enjoy.
There's so much stuff here.
Oh my goodness, this is so awesome.
Isn't that enough? I mean, don't
No,
you
no,
think?
no, 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 no. Like this basket, it's so awesome. Read that. Oh,
Somebody help me.
so good on you, Jay. Here, I'll have that. That'll be amazing.
Thank you
And then
so
look
much.
how
Thank
pretty
you.
this is, this scarf. I love this. Oh, and don't forget, go with the flow.
Go with the flow.
Go with the flow.
Well, where are we?
This is going to be so good. We're at the Unity Spiritual Center bookstore, and they have great deals
They have great deals. You
and
should come
fabulous
down.
cards. Come on down.
Help me.
They're characters. They're our characters, our best loved characters. All right, it's time for the children. So, our song leaders are coming back up, and we will sing. We are walking in the light, in the light, in the light. We are walking in the light, in the light of God. In the light, 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 in the light of God. We are walking in the light, in the light, in the light. We are walking in the light of God. In the light, 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 in the light of God.
Welcome, welcome.
How are you all? Are you getting excited for Christmas, for the holidays? I am. Well, I'm very excited. We are really happy to have you here today. And we're also happy to have the people, the adults that work with you. They are a true gift to this center, as the children are too. So let's get ready to bless them. Warm your hands up. And here we go. Be the love you are. Sing the song you hear. Share your joy of life with people far and near. And for ourselves, be the love we are. Sing the song we hear. Share our joy of life with people far and near. All right, we bless you. We hope you have a wonderful week. We hope we see you next week, and the week after, and the week after. So find your family, whoever brought you. And as you are able, let's stand for the prayer of protection and this peace song. Together, the light of God surrounds us. I am the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love of God. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God. The presence of God watches over us. I am the presence of God. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. And that's the truth.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow, to take each moment and live each moment in peace.